Hello, how are you doing? And welcome to a special update video on some breaking news here on Trains on 2 on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2 with me, Tom. So I am recording this on the 15th of June 2024 this morning, so it's a Saturday, and this morning Bachmann UK, or Bachmann Europe I should say, released some news of a brand new model in 00 gauge of the Class08 diesel shunter. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, Class08 09 diesel shunters are or have been the sort of de facto standard British diesel electric shunting locomotive here in the UK. So from about 1953 until 1964 they were built. There's about 100 in preservation or private ownership, and there's still, I don't know exact numbers, I think it's about, I don't know, 50, 60 or something. They're actually still working on the main line in various locations around the UK. Now let's just take a quick look at the announcement itself. So this is from Bachmann Europe PLC, this is on the website, and this was the announcement: a new dawn for the diesel shunter. And it goes into details about a brand new, here we are, see the date today, the 15th. So brand new 00 gauge. 00 is the British version of HO, so it's the same track gauge as HO, which those of you from Europe or North America will be more familiar with. In the UK, basically, our models got slightly enlarged back in the sort of early day in the 50s, or whenever the standard was derived. So British models are a little bit overscale, but hence they say look about the right size when you put them against their North American or European counterparts, because British rolling stock, generally speaking, is quite small because of restricted Victorian loading gauges and things that we have here in the country. So basically 00 is a little bit bigger than HO, but it runs on the same scale track. Anyway, here we are then, and it talks about new features. So it's a brand new tooling, and it also includes things like an auto release, auto uncoupler, a couple of interesting photographs, digital ready, or there's going to be an analog version, a digital sound version, and some digital pro or deluxe version. And it's also going to have things like working lights. So overall it's very, very interesting. There is a video you can go and watch on the Bachmann channel. I won't replay any of it here because I know some other content creators have had copyright strikes as a result of doing that. But overall this is very, very interesting. And it's slightly bizarre because I was having a conversation only last month with a friend of mine who has quite a large marshalling yard layout which needs Class08 diesel shunters, and he's been using a mixture of the original or current Bachmann and the Hornby versions. And he was sort of saying, I'm going to wait off buying anything else or doing anything to these machines because they don't have sound by standard and they don't have working lights as standard. So he was saying, I'm just going to hold off until, you know, some manufacturer does something better. Now we were thinking that perhaps Acura or Acroscale, I forget exactly how you pronounce it, but they might do the diesel shunter. It makes sense. These things have been around for over 60-70 years now. So if you model something from the steam era of the 50s right through to 2024, there is a space to have one of these models in a various format or livery. So it makes sense for a manufacturer to come along and do a really super modern high spec version of this classic machine. And we did think Acuroscale might actually do it. They were pondering about place, going, oh, we're going to have an announcement and we're going to, you know, we're going to have this new announcement, new locomotive. And thought, right, it's probably going to be a shunter or a switcher. But we call switcher shunters here in the UK. So if you're wondering why I say shunter, it's the same as a switching locomotive would be in the States. Anyway, so we thought it's going to be that. And they came back with the announcement, and it was a Class 60 diesel locomotive, which is a large mainline BR diesel locomotive, and is a copy of two other versions that are already available in 00 gauge. So that was a little bit disappointing. We thought, oh well, that's that. I started work on some third-party upgrade kits to a Hornby model, and my friend was just sort of holding off and waiting. So this new announcement coming through today is extremely welcome and very, very exciting. Now, the timing is very interesting. This weekend, as I record this, is the DEMU, Diesel Electric Modelers United Showcase event happening in Sutton Coalfield in rounds at Birmingham, central England. Now, as it happens, I was actually planning of going with my friend tomorrow, which will be a Sunday, to actually visit the show anyway. So now we're kind of super excited because Bachmann have actually used that show to announce and launch this product. It's not on sale yet. It's going to be on sale sometime next year. But they've got the production samples, or the engineering samples, are actually going to be there at this exhibition. I thought it might just be fun and a little bit interesting if we just have a look at what the existing models are currently on the market. So if we start with the existing Bachmann model. Now, admittedly, this one is used second-hand and is a little bit beat up and hasn't had much work done on it as yet. But this was the year 2000 tooling. This was Bachmann's original release, and this model at the time was huge. Basically, it was an upgrade on earlier versions released by Lima and the earlier Hornby moulding, which dated from the 70s. The Hornby one was notable because it didn't have the correct wheel-spaced chassis. It had open wheels, which were sort of stretched out further, and it didn't have this frame. It was also just generally a bit more cruder, being an earlier product from the sort of mid to late 70s. So when this model came out, it was huge at the time, with, you know, independently fitted and separate handrails, flywheel mechanism, really smooth running, and it was an absolute revolution. That said, a little bit later, and I was trying to think about the date on this, and I think it was around, was it 2006, something like that? I'm going to say 2005, 2006, so about half a decade later, Hornby released their version of the Class08, Class09 diesel shunter, and this was an upgrade on the Bachmann version at the time. Now, this one here, I bought second-hand, a little bit beat up because it was cheap, so it's missing a few bits that need work. But I bought them here just so you can see the difference. Now, there's not a huge amount in it between the two types, but you can see the Hornby one here in blue at the bottom is possibly a little more refined. Certainly ran, well, sort of ran a little bit better. And the detail there, if we can just bring that up to the camera, you can see the Hornby one here is possibly a little bit more detailed than the Bachmann. But this was, until literally today, Bachmann's current tooling, which is now 20 years old. And Hornby's, they've been churning these things out for, oh gosh, wow, since, so what are we, 15 years now, possibly? And they were fantastic at the time, but they did lack things like working lights, and other sort of features that we're kind of coming to expect now with other models. And it makes total sense for a manufacturer to produce something like this because they were made nearly in the thousand. There's 900 and something odd of these particular shunters built. They're still around today, still in use on the main line today. And as I said, it just made total sense. But we were kind of crying out for a slightly better, upgraded model, and now Bachmann have finally answered that call with this new shunter, so we are actually very, very excited. So we're waiting on price. I'm fearing what the price is going to be. I am going to guess, just picking a number out the top of my head just because of how expensive this hobby has gotten recently, I'm going to say for the high end, over 300. I don't know. That's with sound and this deluxe coupling thing, which is interesting in a concept. I don't think I'd use it myself, but the sound is certainly very interesting. For now, because I bought all the parts, I am going to work on the upgrade of my Hornby blue shunting locomotive. My version needs replacement buffer. I could do some detailing, but I need to repair a couple of broken handrails on it. I also want to fit this with lights, which it doesn't come as standard, and also digital and sound. And I have actually bought a decoder for doing that. So this particular model I need for a brand new layout I'm building. I'm building a new exhibition model railway layout, which I will update you with and share with you in a sort of more formal announcement when I'm ready here on Trains on 2 on Wi-Fi Sheep 2. So do make sure you have subscribed and liked the channel to make sure you don't miss out when I do those updates, especially if you're interested in these sort of train type model railway projects. So the Hornby model, it scrubs up all right, and I certainly would use this as a base over the Bachmann. I mean, if you have a Bachmann, the early one, there's nothing wrong with them, but they're looking a little bit tired on the tooling now. Saying that, there was something, and I don't know what it is, when I first saw the Hornby machines, there's just something not quite right. And I cannot for the life of me tell you what it is, but there's just something about the shape of these that isn't quite right. So yeah, really excited about the new Bachmann 08. Definitely something I would look at getting, even though I am going to do this upgrade on an existing Hornby model. So yeah, we'll see when the pricing come out, if it's actually affordable for anybody. If you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing to me here on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. And I will see you for more Trains on 2 real soon. Until next time, thanks so much for your company, and bye for now.